On September 30th, 2008, Dan's life changed forever when a preventable workplace accident sent Dan to the hospital for over 3 months with a 13% chance of survival. Being in a coma for almost 2 weeks, having well over 30 major surgeries and 100 minor ones, it's obvious Dan has gone through things many of us can't even begin to imagine. And if you don't already know Dan, you might expect a story of tragedy and regret about this dark and difficult period of his life. Before I met Dan, before I heard him share his experience, I assumed he might be negative or unhappy when talking about his experience of being burned on the job site. But it's the opposite with this guy. Listen to what Dan says because he speaks from a place of honesty. His ability to reflect on his regret and to allow himself to grow from his experiences is truly a superhuman power. Dan understands our work lives, and through his experiences, he's here to prevent and protect to make sure that every one of us goes home at the end of the day. He's here to make sure we don't go through what he went through, so listen to what Dan says because he's living proof we can achieve great things if we put our minds to it. When he was injured, the surgeons were making plans to amputate both of his arms. 14 years later, Dan was in France winning first place in the International Federation of Arm Wrestling World Championships in both arms. A year after that, he did it again in Malaysia, bringing home another gold medal in each arm. In 2024, the International Federation of Arm Wrestling World Championships were held in Loutraki, Greece, where Dan retained both of his reigning world titles, making him a 6-time world champion arm wrestler. Now he's training for the 2025 World Championships, which will be held in Azerbaijan. Dan has become extremely passionate about the sport of arm wrestling and enjoys getting others involved and teaching about its parallels to on-the-job teamwork and safety mindsets. In 2018, he was invited to Dallas, Texas, to participate in a research testing project to collect data from burn survivors while they perform intense physical exercise under extreme environmental conditions. Since the first project, he's participated in another 2 rounds of what they call Hell Week. And I can tell he's very proud to have helped burned soldiers return to duty and receive their pensions. This testing involves intense training, which is nothing new to Dan as he has often done similar training regimens for arm wrestling tournaments. Since he was a boy, Dan's father instilled a love of aviation in his heart, and he is always excited to get in the cockpit. World champion arm wrestler, aerospace test subject, airplane pilot. You might be starting to think that this guy is trying to be some kind of superhero. In fact, Dan Plexman is the writer and creator of the superhero character, the Plexman. This universal safety hero / extraordinary ordinary average guy is based on his own experiences when his workplace accident forced him to develop superhero-like abilities to overcome the challenges he faced during recovery. Dan's accomplished a lot since his accident, but one thing in particular stands out above the rest. If you ask Dan the biggest impact his accident has had on his life, he won't talk about surgeries, hospital stays, or the daily challenges he faces. His answer is always the same. If I wasn't burnt, I would never have met my wife, and that's the best thing that has ever happened to and for me. They were married in Nasia's home city in Greece and spend a few months a year there. The rest of the time, they're living together on a little lake with their dog Coda in Northern Ontario, Canada. Let's all give Dan Plexman a warm welcome as he takes the stage. Take it away, Dan.